Hey everyone, if you're new, my name's Isaac and I'm a design student with an interest in film and video, amongst other things. And what I wanted to do today was make a video showing you what my camera setup is if I'm ever recording my bike rides. I've recently put up a video of me using this setup, and I thought I'd explain in more detail what I've done to get the best quality out of whatever gear you already have. So let's get started. So, what you'll need, assuming you already have one, is some sort of action camera. In my case, I'm using a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black, which at this point has become quite an old camera in GoPro's lineup. However, I've managed to make it work and get good footage with it. You'll also need some sort of housing to mount your camera. Most GoPros come with these clear waterproof housings. However, I'd advise against these in this case because of the drop in audio quality you'll notice. What I recommend instead is an open case style housing like this. I bought this knockoff one off Amazon for around $15, and it has openings for all the ports and inputs that I need access to. As you can see, I've modified mine slightly, and I'll get into that later. You'll also need a way of attaching your camera to you on your ride, so in my case I use a chest mount simply because that's what I already had. However, I'd actually recommend that this is the best option. If you try to use a handlebar clamp or something that mounts rigid to the bike, your video is going to look shaky. Helmet mounts are another popular option. However, keeping the camera closest to your center of mass will help keep it steady, and the chest mount will also get you clear audio. If you have access to a lav mic, use it. Audio is going to be the most important factor when it comes to how your footage is perceived. For a GoPro, all you need is a 3.5mm to USB adapter to connect your camera to a mic. If you're like me and don't have a lav mic, just find some soft high pile fabric and some hot glue, and you can adapt your setup to record clearer sound. Regardless of what camera you're using, there are internal video settings that you can change in order to get the best possible output. Set your resolution to the highest that your camera can do. Keep in mind that higher resolutions will also impact how long you can record. For longer rides, I like to record at 1080p because with good lighting, I find that 1080 looks great and doesn't take up as much space. Another thing to check is your focal length, or width depending on how you define it. But a general rule for action cameras is that wider angles will get you more interesting in dynamic shots. However, I've noticed that setting it too wide can start to make things look distorted depending on the situation. I have my GoPro setting set to wide. However, if you have long arms like me, medium might look more natural. Also, if you have the ability to adjust color settings, select the most neutral tone possible. In my camera, I don't have these options. However, in newer models there might be. Selecting neutral tones will preserve more detail in the image that you can always enhance or change later in post. For audio, it's important to have a decent setup as the sound of your video is arguably the most telling sign of quality. Like I mentioned before, I don't have a lav mic, so instead I've devised a trick to get the most out of my camera's onboard mic. The trick I use is to take your fabric and cut a small enough piece to cover the microphone on your camera. I glued mine to the housing since I don't want to glue something directly to my camera, but the most important part is to not block the microphone hole itself with glue. Try your best to do what I've done here and glue around the perimeter so that the only thing covering the hole is the fabric itself. Using a chest mount, as I mentioned before, will also improve your sound quality simply by the way it's placed. Unlike helmet mounts, a chest mount hovers the camera conveniently near you, placing the microphone as close as it can be to your mouth. However, if you have a lav mic, only that has to be placed near your mouth, ideally by your shirt collar, while the camera can be placed anywhere. Finally, once you've got your setup made, it's good to test out your settings and dial in the fine details. The setup that I use won't necessarily work for everyone. Depending on how you position yourself on your bike, you might need to make some changes to the focal length or find out you need to adjust the microphone. Doing these checks before you start should help you get the best possible footage before you even sit down and start editing in post. The three main takeaways for a decent setup is to remember that your gear isn't as important as you think. For example, I use a camera that's 7 or 8 years old and is still very capable. Don't feel that you need to buy the newest in order to get the best. Secondly, remember that audio is very important for perceived good quality. If you had to choose between investing in upgrading your video or audio components, I'd choose audio if you're trying to shoot something POV like this. And finally, use the highest recording settings in your camera no matter what you have. It will help your videos age better and look less dated with time. I don't use any new gear myself, and I'm still able to make videos that are a quality that I'm happy with by following this trick. So hopefully that was a bit helpful, or at least insightful for getting good biking footage using whatever camera you already own, or at least helped you find a simple alternative. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting subscribe, it helps a lot, and if you like the video, be sure to let me know. I'll see you guys next time.